taking those?
In 5, 4, 3.
You didn't say 2 or 1.
You don't say 2 or 1.
Why not?
You just don't.
Okay.
All right.
Guys, you're not in.
All right. Well, welcome to the first ever episode of the Renegades of Horror podcast. I'm your host, Captain James, and I am joined by esteemed colleagues to my left.
Down. How are you? Dude, I'm the unofficial king of PBR.
You know what? No. I don't allow that. Second of all, Joe.
What's up there, fellas? Going on there, fellas? All right.
Matt.
Matt, what's up, fellas? What's going on?
And Andrew.
What up, what up, what up?
All right.
Johnny,
Johnny
Utah.
Utah, a.k.a. Andrew, a.k.a. Johnny Utah. All right. So, Matt. So, Joe, why don't you tell us what we're doing here today?
Well, we're talking about pretty much what got us into horror movies, right? This is going to be a horror podcast for the most part. So let's see. Let's go around the table here. Let's start with Andrew. What got you into horror?
Man, so when I was a kid, I remember going to Blockbuster and seeing all the VHS movies on the shelves. And I'm just like my mom wouldn't let me go into that section or wouldn't let me get anything out of that section or whatever. And then my mom's sister, my cool aunt, told me about Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street and this character and just the idea of it before even seeing his face and what he is and whatever. It's it freaked me out, dude. I had nightmares just thinking about this fucking crazy burned guy, whatever. This whole situation, whatever. So one day I was at a sleepover at my aunt's house and we watched the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street, dude. It was awesome. And I'm just it blew my fucking mind, man. And after that, I was just hooked. I don't know. It was crazy. And then another time, my dad actually saw the original Dawn of the Dead in theaters in 1978 and told me about that movie. And we rented it one time and watched that. And I was just dude. And it's just always something I've just had a huge fascination with. I don't know. It's just, they say horror movies are just, it's all about violence and a character trying to survive, and it's just crazy, dude. And it's just, the idea behind it is just fun. It's awesome. I love it. Yeah. I know I'm kind of jumping around a bit. I feel probably had a better one the last time, but yeah. And then also Jaws. That was another big one. And then another time,
Bigger Jaws?
Yeah. Another one of my friends and I, when I was a kid, we rented Halloween 1 and Friday the 13th 1 in the same night. So it was pretty crazy watching Friday the 13th and a Halloween for the first time at the same night. So it's pretty wild. But that's pretty much just what got me into it, man. And been fucking crazy about it ever since. I watch probably a horror movie a day. And do it still to this day. And fanatical, man. All right.
Hell yeah! I mean, I think that's how most people kind of get in, at least because since we're all around the same age. I think that we all share similarities. Because with me, I remember my mom sitting me down when I was 7 or something, watching the first Halloween, and just being because she hyped it up so much, and then watching this guy just stalk cheerleaders or schoolgirls and also, yeah, Blockbuster. I mean, every Friday night, my dad would take us, and you'd see, the wrestling section to the right, and then the horror movies all the way in the back. Where the original Scream or the Shining box had it was all dirty and shit because from year of just use and stuff like that. But that's what it was, man. Mm-hmm. How about you, Matt?
Yeah. So, oh man.
All right. How about you, Joe?
Man, you go first, man.
All right, I'll go first. Yeah, so what got me introduced to horror, honestly, was probably from Joe, because I know Joe's favorite. He grew up with Halloween, the original, too. And then just watching it with him from a young age. And I just remember it being so cool, and then just, I remember being just so, seeing it, and it's, so cool when you're a kid, and then going home to being like afraid. You're like looking around your room and stuff, and you're thinking that like he's in your room or he's like by your bed and stuff, and being so afraid of it. But I remember it's so cool. And then I also remember like my dad scaring me with like a Chucky mask on, which got me into like liking Child's Play too. So just being introduced to this stuff when you're a kid, and just liking it, but also kind of like being afraid of it when you're like home alone and stuff, or you're in your room like about to go to bed and stuff. And then just honestly too, what got me into watching more movies was like seeing like these like the VHS's like covers at like Blockbuster or Movie World. Like I remember seeing like going to the video game section, they had the scary movie section, and I remember seeing the original It like VHS sitting there, and it's like, wow, that looks so scary and stuff. Pennywise is there, and to also kind of keep looking at it and be like, man, this is like, even though it's scary looking, it's like it's also so cool looking, and I'm kind of interested and I want to watch it. So just from like seeing like growing up with like Halloween and growing up with Child's Play just led into so many more movies as I got older and stuff. Like I got into Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I got introduced to Nightmare on Elm Street, and other sci-fi movies too, like Dawn of the Dead too. Just like how it started, it just grew into so many more movies, and also into us going to conventions too and meeting all the different actors and actresses of all the movies we like too. And it grew into such a big following for us, and we just constantly keep watching new movies and always rewatch the original movies that we fell in love with and stuff, what made us love this genre. So yeah, definitely. It just grew into this huge like universe for us that we continue to love and watch. So
I always feel bad for like these newer generations, because I feel like maybe it's just me, but we all share the same story of how these VHSs, when you go there. I mean, I remember picking up the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and that cover where Nancy's on the bed, it just, I don't know, got me like,
yeah,
it really grabbed a hold of me. And then you saw like, you know, the Friday the 13th, the first one, it's like just the silhouette with the knife. It's like, what is even going on? How about you, Joe?
Well, let's say that I knew of a lot of the characters, you know, like I knew Freddy, I knew Jason, I knew, you know, but what really got me going was, you know, and if you're listening, I got to do a shout out to Nick Mack and Sean Mack, because I got to say that, like, what really got me into it was I used to hang out with Nick Mack, right? And we were little, and we would be at his house, and his brother would always watch like this movie called Halloween. You know, he would watch Halloween 1, 2, 3, or, you know, 1, 2, well, 3 a little bit, but 1, 2, 4, 5, and I'm like, so who is this guy? Like, who's like the scary guy in this? And he was telling me, he's like, well, this guy's name is Michael Myers, and he wears a white mask and like a jumpsuit. And I'm like, really? Okay. So then I would watch a little bit with him, whatever he was watching. And I seen this guy, right? And he's got this white mask jumpsuit. And I'm like, man, this is so scary, because it's like that mask is so pale, so blank face, just like from the movie, blank, pale, emotionless face. And it's very simple but very effective, because it's so creepy, because you see him in the shadows, you know, like, you know, he's coming out of the shadows. He's more of like that boogeyman type of character that we all could, you know, relate to, because it's like anytime any of us sees like a boogeyman, you know, it's like, well, oh, look over there, or oh, look over there. I don't know, is that guy standing, or is that guy looking at us? Like, oh man, it's kind of creepy. And that's what Michael Myers kind of resembles, and I really got into that. And then all of a sudden after that, I remember renting the original Halloween at Blockbuster, and I'm like, man, I got to see this now. I mean, I've seen little clips of it, but I got to actually watch this. And I rented it at Blockbuster, and it was, you know, remember that cover where it's like, oh, no, I didn't rent it, I bought it. Remember that cover where it's like Laurie Strode just looking like this, like,
yeah, Michael Myers in the background. I remember that at your house. I remember.
I bought that at Blockbuster. And I'm like, okay, I gotta actually watch this, see what it's about. Not just little clips. I gotta watch this because I got very interested, and I watched it, and man, did I fall in love, right? It was like, holy shit, like, this is so fucking cool. This is so awesome. Then after that, you know, I got more into Freddy, more into Jason, because it's like that. Watching the first Halloween introduced me into everything else. You know, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface. You know, I remember having a sleepover with a couple of people, and we all watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we're like, oh man, this shit's nuts. Yeah. Like, he's fucking hitting that guy with the mail, and he's shaking all over the fucking place.
And then he makes
like,
the pig noise, like...
Yeah, and he makes, like, the pig noise, like... You know what I mean? And it's like, fuck, man, like, this is insane shit. Right? And like Nightmare on Elm Street and Jason, it's like, you know, Jason's like more of like that, you know, campfire story, kind of like, oh shit, like we're going camping and Jason's over there with the big machete and the fucking goalie mask that's like from here to like fucking like, you know, California and everything. Like, it's crazy shit, you know? And then I remember the first time I watched like Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm like, dude, like, it's starting to get more creative. Like, Freddy's coming, he haunts you in your sleep and shit. And it's like, man, all of a sudden I started getting way into this shit. Because it's like, I think horror has the best characters. You know, it's more like art, right?
100%.
Where it's like, okay, you got your superhero, you got your, you know, action, you got this. But horror just seems to have, like, the coolest characters. Like, you see these characters and the way, like, they're shaped, the way they're deformed, the way everything, it's more like art, right? And I kind of see horror as more art, where it's like, you know, the character is this guy, or then this character portrays this, and this character is just so cool. And getting into it at such a young age really changed my life, because it's like, okay, people at a young age get into like Thomas the Tank, they get into like this, they get into that shit. But me getting into horror at such a young age like really changed my life, because now it's like the rest of my life I'm looking at all these different horror movies, like different horror figures and shit like that, and it just changed my life. And I got into it at such a young age where my whole life is like horror. You know, I mean, there's other shit I like too, whatever, but it's like horror has been my favorite because I got introduced to it at such a young age, so I love it.
Hell yeah, man. You know, that's the best part about horror, man. Mm-hmm. How are you, Donald?
Well, like, you know, I know we're putting Blockbuster over, like, big time. Like, dude,
well, because we're all at that age.
Yeah, that's how it
Blockbuster's
started
more
for
over
us.
than
I know.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah,
right
more than
now.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
1998.
Dude, the Halloween VHS from Blockbuster with the orange Blockbuster border, man. I still have that.
I remember that one.
Dude, like, I just remember going to Blockbuster. I remember... It wasn't the first time I've seen Halloween, but, like, I remember my mom bought us the Halloween VHS and Halloween 5 on VHS.
From the discount bin?
Discount, you know, $4.99.
Hell yeah. It didn't come with the case.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But I remember the big plastic cases like you were talking about of it. I mean, I remember Pennywise. Like, I remember what the hell is this? It was just a creepy ass clown, which is still my favorite, you know, Pennywise to this day. But I remember watching Halloween. I remember the first time. I don't remember the first time I watched Halloween, but I remember for some reason. I remember the first time I watched Halloween 3 was at Kyle Bolter's house for some reason.
Kyle Bolter.
And for a longest time, that was the only time I ever seen Halloween 3. Oh. Yeah, but like getting into it, I don't know. It's like I'll agree with Matt. Like hanging out with Joe, my mom getting us into Halloween 1. Love Michael Myers. Freddy Krueger is scary as shit. I love Jason because the goalie mask, you know, hockey, that's awesome, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to put over Roger Crozier for the inspiration for that mask.
You know, big hockey fan,
baby.
you know, love that. And then fucking chainsaws, machetes, I mean, come on, how can you not like that? Mm-hmm. And then getting into rock music, you know, we like rock and metal and Rob Zombie, and then Rob Zombie started doing movies like when we were in high school, you know. So that just further and more. And then, like, I'm wearing the Universal Monsters. I love the Universal Monsters. Like, going to haunted houses, like, I love Dracula, Frankenstein. My favorite is Creature in the Black Lagoon. Like, it's my all-time favorite. But, I remember, like, my dad telling us, like, bedtime stories with fucking Wolfman and Dracula. Like, Dracula was always there, like... But, yeah, what about you, James?
Well... I mean, I already kind of covered it, but yeah, just growing up, I remember, man, it was right when Scream came out. So, like 6 or, I was like 6 or it was 7. I was 7, something like that. I remember someone telling me, explaining the death in Scream when Rose McGowan gets stuck in the... Dude, the way he explained it.
Dude, that's Jessica's favorite. Wait till you talk to her about that. It's their favorite kill scene.
Yeah. and dude, like, it's just, I remember before I even saw the movie, someone explaining that scene to me, and I was scared, but I was also very... intrigued on it, and like Creature in the Black Lagoon. I remember I had a sleepover with a friend of mine. We were really young, and my dad went to Blockbuster. He's like, I'm gonna go get some horror movies, and he got Creature in the Black Lagoon. That was the first time I ever saw it. And when she's swimming and the creature's underneath her, I swear, man, there's a few key moments of my memory of watching horror movies. It was the first Halloween, and when my dad showed me The Lost Boys. And I was hooked. And then, like Donald said, with Rob Zombie, his imagery of all the horror movies, the videos, the Misfits, like one of my favorite bands, all about horror movies, And, just people, we've been friends forever, but it's just we kind of share that kind of obsession. And then, the collections of toys and the VHSs and stuff like that. It becomes a passion.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's, what this podcast is just 5 people talking about a passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say this genre of like movies, like horror, it had such an impact on our lives to where, we wanted to dress up as like Michael Myers or Freddy or Chucky or wherever for Halloween, to us having like pop and action figure collections, to going to conventions, to having shirts and showing everybody that's what we love. And to us, it brings us together now to do the podcast, which is so cool. Like, we're all hanging out, we're sharing our knowledge of what we know from all the horror movies, and it just brings us together to do this podcast. So I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I mean, I guess next, we can just scratch the surface, but how about, you guys name 3 favorite horror movies?
All right.
Cool, yeah.
Let's go around. Donald, you go first.
You want to start?
All right, if we're going to do 3, we'll just do 3 because we'll talk about our top 10 later on.
Yeah,
that'll be like a whole episode. I know 3's a big number, Donald.
3. well, Halloween, of course, number 1. 2 other ones are my favorite. We'll kind of spice it up. I love Insidious. Insidious, I feel, is one of the best horror movies in the last 20 years.
I mean, Tiny Tim was scary to begin with, but man, that really set it over.
When you play Tiny Tim in the afternoon with the sun out, and you see a little kid, standing by the coat rack, that's some creepy ass shit.
Dressed like the 50s and shit.
Oh yeah, that was insane. But I love that franchise. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is top, of course.
All right. How about you, Joe?
Well, obviously, the original Halloween is my favorite. And I forgot to mention earlier that I remember, Nick's older brother, Sean, he had the mask, the jumpsuit, and everything, and he would scare the shit out of us. We would be so on edge every time we go to that house because we'd be like, oh my God, he's got the Michael Myers costume on. And I remember one time we were going down the stairs because he had a long staircase going down to the basement, and we were going down, and all of a sudden Sean peeks from around the corner in the costume, and we ran 3 blocks to my house, and we were crying and everything. And that, and then after a while, the more you get scared of it, the more you get interested in it, and so you just want to just watch it,
exactly.
and
That's a good point.
You want to watch, you want to see what it's about. So I mean, the original Halloween, and that was the first horror movie I actually watched from start to finish. So I would say that is my number 1. That's what got me into it, right? Second, I would say probably Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. It's such well put, and it's such creepy, and it's so crazy you know, knowing that like everybody has to sleep, right? So it's like when you go to sleep, you're gonna see Freddy Krueger. It paranoids you. You're like, holy shit, man! Like I can't sleep, but I have to sleep. The human body has to sleep. So it's like, fuck, man, like you know. And so it's like if I go to sleep, I'm gonna see this fucking guy with the striped shirt, you know, hat and you know fedora, whatever, and burnt face and claws. This guy's gonna come get me if I sleep. And it's like, dude, it kind of makes you afraid to sleep when you're a little kid. The third one, I would say. Probably the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre because that movie's so brutal. You know, it's kind of gritty and it makes it when you watch that movie, it feels like it's real. You know, there's no really soundtrack in it. There's no, you know, I mean, yeah, you got the. I mean, Donald's just showing a little fucking Chucky thing that's funny as hell. You know, I mean, it feels like real. Like these kids are all like on a road trip, and then they come across like this house, and they go check it out and everything. And you got this brutal guy like Leatherface coming, and he's fucking hitting people with mallets and sawing people up with this chainsaw. And it's like, wow, this is crazy, fucking brutal shit. And you know, like I said, you start getting more into it. So I would say those three are probably my top. What about Donald?
I already did.
Man, I can keep going.
Man, sorry.
Man, those Pabst Blue Ribbon gimmicks are really kicking that ass.
Guys, I had a couple of Pabst Blue Ribbon right from Jewel Osco. So.
Oh, man, that's for the holidays,
Jesus
dude.
Christ. Oh, God, dude, I almost got bamboozled. All right,
Who's next?
yeah, Matt.
Ooh, all right, so...
Well, let me guess, Halloween 78.
Of course. Absolutely, dude. I mean,
That's going to be mine, too.
yeah,
That's
dude.
everybody's.
That's like the one movie that just started this for everybody. That what got us into horror, obviously. So I'm gonna definitely go with that one first. And then I don't know if I'm gonna open up a debate here, but do you think Halloween 2 is a separate movie, or do you think it's 1 and 2 and all in one movie?
That's a good. That's
It's essentially
I
the
think
same
it's
movie.
the same movie.
You think it's the same
Yeah.
movie?
I would say. I mean,
That movie is so great, it doesn't deserve to be classified.
Yeah, it
as
just
like
doesn't
a-
seem like it's a standalone movie since they could just continued it into one night.
Yeah.
So
And Titanic could be 45 hours, so can Halloween.
yeah.
Yeah, it just wouldn't make sense if it was a standalone movie, you know, because you need that backstory of the first one and the first whole situation that happened there to transition into the second
Because it
one.
takes place within, like...
Right.
So, it is.
I mean, everything is like the same too. I mean, just look at even like the fucking cop cars and uniforms and everything is like matching. You know?
Exactly,
It's like they
exactly.
actually like really made it look like it was like that night, even though it was,
Definitely.
what 4 years.
Well, it even
later?
had the same
Yeah.
3 years
visuals.
later.
It had the same cinematography. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, like it's exactly.
Yeah.
Even though it's what, no, it's like what,
Three,
three
4
years,
years, maybe?
3 or 4 years
Yeah.
apart. I mean, it's like, man, it looks the same. Like it's the same shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
Same characters, same actors, you know?
Yeah.
Well, obviously characters, but actors and everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's
For
my
sure.
whole thing with the 2018 Halloween is that they should have included it from the second one too. Like, why?
That
why
would have
not?
been really cool. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that would make more sense for me with Laurie Strode why she's so paranoid. Because you went through not only one night but 2 nights of the same bullshit.
Well, yeah, all
And-
the same night, but more like encountered with him.
Yeah, exactly.
And a big reason why I think Halloween 2 is almost a perfect movie is because we actually get to see Ben Tramer.
Yeah, right. You get to see Ben Trimmer get his fucking ass reamed.
Yeah.
So me and James are talking about doing a special tribute to the Ben Tramer when we cover Halloween 2.
Yeah.
We did a tribute show. We got screwed out. We got the long dick.
We'll have to pour out a Budweiser on the curve for my home dog,
Yeah.
Ben Tramer. He
Ben
gets
Tramer-
completely BTFO'd, man.
Oh, he has the worst death that wasn't caused by Michael Myers. I mean, his death was so brutal.
Dude, but the mask had like the Fred Durst here in 1997. All right, Andrew. Wait, did you finish, man?
No.
Oh,
So
sorry, I'm so caught up.
no, that's okay. So we'll keep it as the same movie because I was gonna say that might be my first two favorites, but
I would say mine too. Yeah, something like that.
yeah. And then I'm gonna
Just for
definitely
purposes, just
One
name
and two. We
two other ones. Okay, so I'm gonna definitely say Child's Play because that's I watched that forever. That's
Chris Sarandon.
that Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. Those are they're really good movies. I think those 3 out of the series are the best ones, and then the rest, when it got to Bride of Chucky and Seed and Cult and all that, that's just kind of fell down. But definitely the original Child's Play. That's the most suspenseful. I mean, honestly, you don't even see Chucky actually alive until 3/4 of the movie, which they did a really good job of keeping that suspense with you till the whole movie, almost 3/4 of the movie. Mm-hmm. So you don't see Chucky live. You see him kind of run across the room when he before he kills Aunt Maggie, and you see the footprints in the flour on the countertop. So it's like you see these little things that you know that the doll's alive, but it's like you don't actually see him alive until about I would say an hour into the movie, maybe 3/4 into the movie.
Minutes, like that,
45 minutes even. It's so cool.
Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon is Detective Norris.
Peter Dandridge.
Yeah, that's just they did a really good job. Plus, it's filmed in Chicago too, so that's definitely a Chicago movie.
Yeah.
And then I would say another favorite movie of mine has got to be Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. It's such a good movie, man. Freddy Krueger's another one that just made a big impact. And like of how we love horror and stuff, and I've always dressed up for Freddy Krueger. When I worked at the movie theater, I dressed up as Freddy Krueger a couple times, and whenever I had to clean the theaters, I was Freddy Krueger. I had the glove, and then I would sweep up popcorn with the broom and butler and stuff. Yeah, I just loved it, man. Freddy Krueger is one of those for me that was such a big. He's one of my favorite icons for sure.
Absolutely.
And to meeting Robert Englund whenever he comes around to the conventions, and
you gotta wait like 2 days to fucking meet him.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, he's got one of the longest lines in history of meeting somebody, but it's just that he's just one of the biggest icons, of course. So I mean. And he was just pretty much like one of the guys that I'm like, man, he is just so cool. I want to dress up like him. I got figures of him and I got T-shirts of him. So it's definitely one of my favorite movies for sure.
I have a picture with him somewhere. I took it at a convention. I got a picture with Robert Englund.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He was really nice. Really
cool.
He
was one of the
down to earth
guys.
guy. He's just really into film and just a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah,
definitely. You wouldn't
definitely.
expect it. Freddy Krueger, he's actually like super down to earth.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, how about you, Andrew? What's your...
All right. Well, I mean, I feel like I gotta change it up a little here, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, obviously, Halloween 1978.
Big
Or
Mama's
Halloween 1
House.
and 2, whatever. Like we were talking, Big Mama's House.
Bigger Jaws. I can see right up the Jones.
Yeah.
I can see him for a
I love obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of my favorite movies of all time. Incredible, man. What a wild fucking concept. The original Friday the 13th, obviously. But I'm gonna throw in a couple here that are a little different. I love The Burning.
Oh, very
The Burning,
underrated.
One of the most underrated slashers ever. Tom Savini did special effects gore for it. Whoa, what a good movie, man. It's super fucking crazy.
Dude,
I would definitely recommend anybody who hasn't seen it to watch that movie.
Dude,
It's
yeah.
wild, man.
The scene with when they're on the
canoe,
raft, the
raft.
canoe.
Yeah.
I swear.
Wild.
From 1981, man, that is one of the most brutal scenes in a horror movie you will ever see.
Yeah,
With
extremely
the fingers.
violent. Yeah, it's just an extremely violent movie, but it's like it's cool. It's a good story. It's a good movie. Like a lot of these Italian like slashers from back in the day and all this shit. The fucking storylines were goddamn like incoherent almost, and it's just gore
Like New
and
York
jumping
Ripper?
around. Yeah, like gore and jumping around. That movie was weird.
Yeah.
But, and just a lot of garbage or whatever. But The Burning is a really good movie, so I'm gonna put that on the top of my list. Definitely Dawn of the Dead 1978 is probably my all-time favorite movie. Like it with anything. Just dude, it's Nightmare Night of the Living Dead on fucking steroids, dude. And it's just like the amount of just carnage and fucking it's just such a dark movie, and it just blows my mind. I have to watch it like once a month. I finally found it on Blu-ray for a decent price, so I bought that. And I have the original VHS too. the Thorny EMI release, but I digress. I have the original poster too from 1978. One sheet
wow,
poster.
that's cool.
Yeah, I bought it at
That's
a convention
awesome.
on
Oh,
sale.
awesome. That's
if you guys
awesome.
want to get rid of it, I mean, they go for about $250 online. I bought it for like $150 or something.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is
so
good
I just
deal.
got to get it professionally framed and shit. But yeah, I have one of those original posters, one sheets.
Awesome.
And then the other one that I really like, other than Dawn of the Dead, would have to be Black Christmas from 1974.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, obviously that movie. You know, I know people will say fucking, was it Dementia 13, Peeping Tom, all this shit, like, kind of started the whole... Yeah, I think it led the way to the slasher genre, but Black Christmas might have been, you know, other than Psycho too, obviously.
Well,
But Psycho had a
influenced-
lot of other things going on. Oh, I forgot Psycho. Psycho's one of my favorites,
I would
too,
put
but-
Psycho and PB Tom, like those. They were like, they started it. They like.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
they came up with the idea for it, but Black Christmas was probably the actual like first slasher ever. You know, I think
Well, it influenced Halloween.
it did
For sure.
It did, yeah. I mean, it's the first movie to kind of have that blueprint of what a slasher movie is. I love that, man. I watch it every Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I bought that new special edition Blu-ray or whatever. Yeah, and I watch it every Christmas Eve.
Nice.
And
That's
yeah.
a cool little tradition there.
It is, yeah. Yeah, those, man, and obviously Nightmare on Elm Street, like I was saying earlier, man, they're just, yeah, it's so hard to just pick three, you know? There's so many stories related to all these different movies, and I love fucking Friday the 13th Part 4, man.
Oh, definitely.
Dude, Part
That's one of
4
the
is
best.
awesome. I know I'm just, like, throwing out a bunch of movies now, but it's fun conversation.
This podcast
whatever.
is for, man.
Yeah, it's fun conversation.
I always
so.
forget that Crispin Glover's in that.
Yeah.
I always forget for some reason.
Like,
You're-
a year before Back to the Future, I
Yeah,
think. Or
yeah,
a year
right along
or
that
The
time.
final chapter?
Yeah.
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 Oh, I gotta
Yeah.
gotta put it in my computer. It says you're a dead fuck.
Yeah.
I need to get laid.
Well, it's like if you find a 13th game that says you and your friends are dead. It's like, all right, dude, I got you, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
They're carrying a case of Budweiser and Coors Banquet, man.
Yeah. Dude, but fucking Friday the 13th, the first one, obviously with Pamela Voorhees or whatever.
Oh, I'm
What's her
Pamela
name?
Lord.
In real
Pamela-
life?
Yeah. I think
Betsy Palmer?
Betsy Palmer,
yeah. Betsy Palmer playing Pamela Voorhees. And dude, that movie, so Halloween was the next step in the slasher progression from Black Christmas. And then
Oh man, Joe's beat with the door open.
Joe, close the damn door.
It sounds like a waterfall.
We're not editing this out.
Andrew is spilling his heart about horror movies. All right,
full send, man. Full
Yeah.
send.
All right.
No, dude, that was good, Andrew. James, why don't you tell us a couple things that we're going to be covering on the show?
Oh, hold on. Let me cover my top.
Oh, I
three.
thought you did.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew got enough for both of you. No, I'm joking.
Well, well, you know, okay.
Well, you know.
All right, top three, like everyone. Halloween, set in 1978, of course. The original Nightmare on Elm Street and the first Jason, Friday the 13th. And I think one, I mean, because Halloween, you know, everyone grew up, you know, with the Michael Myers, especially our parents are around the same age that when they were in high school around that time, you know, is when Halloween came out. So we were like the generation of the parents that saw that in person. And also, I think another key fact that maybe it gets overlooked, you know, we all live in the Chicagoland area, even though Haddonfield is a fictional town. It means something when it's Illinois. Maybe,
Well, right.
maybe
Yeah, of course.
it's different, you know. But I know people in Pennsylvania take the Night of Living Dead and Days of Living Dead very serious because that's a big part of their culture out there. And, you know, Freddy Krueger, like you guys said, man, the sweater, the gloves. I remember my mom was like, you know, that movie is too gross. And then the first scene, you know, in the beginning, when he chops off his fingers, and when the green ooze is coming out, and I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? And then Jason, because to me, Friday the 13th might be like one of the best slashers because Halloween was like really, you know, the beginning of the boom. But Friday the 13th, to me, cemented it. But, you know, like Andrew did go a little off the road a little, I'm going to say Scream.
Yeah,
Of course.
absolutely.
Because that was, I mean, you know, every jabroni in school on Halloween had the Scream masks.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and all the... and
Well, because you can get him a Jewel Oscar.
Dude, yeah, you know, all the guys with the blood mask, dude. You know,
And then the
man.
heart, and you got to keep pumping the
Yeah,
heart and
yeah.
the beads of
Oh, yeah,
blood
yeah.
through the mask. Oh, yeah. We
sure.
all had it for sure.
Man, Scream is just so amazing. And then I'm going to say Sleepaway Camp. I love Sleepaway Camp, man. I love any slashers from like 1978 to about 1985. They're perfect. And that movie, the twist at the end is crazy. And the whole movie is just, it's a great setup for a great, you know, camp slasher. And then my third one, I'm going to say Lost Boys. Because I remember my dad introduced me to that when I was really young. And just the music and, you know, Kiefer Sutherland is just such a badass.
The greatest badass in the world.
Tim Capello.
Tim
Capello.
Capello.
Tim Capello.
Shout out, dude. The biggest badass in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, man.
Tim, I will buy you beer if we ever hang out. And because of him, we still believe.
We do.
And if it wasn't for Tim, I don't think I'd believe.
I don't think I would either. I think.
I would, but I definitely wouldn't still believe.
Yeah.
All right, Donald. Donald's laughing at the Rock, gawking at the
No,
Rock.
you made a good point though about the Friday the 13th. It's like Friday the 13th, the original showed people that they could make slasher movies for really cheap, and that's what the slasher boom of the early 80s happened.
Yeah.
Was because of Friday the 13th.
Like My Bloody Valentine was
Yeah.
like made on such a small ass budget.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's all you need. For slashers, you almost need just a small budget.
And
you know?
synth music.
Yeah.
Synth
definitely.
music is probably the most important thing to at least slasher movies. And I said,
Definitely.
before you come up with a killer and a great plot, put some synth music on.
Just thought that was an
Well,
important.
yeah.
All you need to see is the hand.
And speaking about
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
Well,
and,
especially in Friday the Friday the 13th, all you need is
and
the
also because, you know, just not take too much time, but, you know, Universal Monsters movies were such a big impact on me. And Dracula.
Oh,
Dracula would have to, the original 1931 Bela Lugosi, man, when he's just creeping around the corner, man. It's just because you know it's Dracula, but he's just talking to people all normal. It's like, dude, when's this guy just gonna eat someone?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the Frankenstein and my dad, like, I remember watching Frankenstein with my dad, like, at an early age. Oh, man, it was such, like, greatness because my dad's like, oh, look at this guy, his name is Frankenstein, and, you know, then you got all these guys coming after. It's awesome. I mean, like, I have such great memories watching Frankenstein with my dad. Like, the original, like, the old one,
Yeah.
you know? It's good shit.
all right. Well, Dal, why don't you tell us what we have coming up?
Well, we're gonna be introducing some segments, you know, here and there. But like, we're gonna do like on this day of horror. You know, we're gonna talk about like, you know, big films or any, you know,
Anniversaries.
anniversaries of films being released, being this and that. In a couple minutes, I'll go through a couple from this week. So we'll call it this, you know, this day in horror.
Or when I get too drunk and just want to keep talking about Invisible Man when he's like,
But we're going to be introducing segments, you know, throughout, you know, having special guests, talking about comparing beers to movies, you know, because, you know, that's what we're having fun right now, drinking these PBRs and, you know,
Yep.
talking, you want to get into this day in horror? I actually did.
so Matt, how you doing?
Oh, hello. Well, I just wanted to say a couple of things from what we were talking about. So, I almost think that Scream, well, speaking about Scream when we were talking about it not too long ago, I feel like Scream almost brought back the slasher genre.
It did.
It saved
oh, it
horror.
saved horror.
It saved
Especially in the
horror for
90s.
sure.
Slashers, man,
Horror
it
in
saved
general.
horror.
Yeah.
You
You
can
just horror in general.
Yeah, no, dude, because of the
Yeah.
the early 90s, I mean, there were a lot of good movies like Leprechaun, Candyman. Shut up, Andrew. But
John Play 2 and 3
Yeah.
came, and then We had what do we had? Jason Goes to Hell in '90.
Yeah, dude,
It's just-
Jason 9 is
Right.
like eating 5 Super King burritos for TK and pooping in an alley.
Right. You know, then it's like started getting to like girls like standing by the locker saying, "Oh, that guy's hot," and then like she touches her butt and shit. It's like, you know, it's like, come on, like what is this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Scream came, but it was still teeny bopper, but it brought it in a whole new way where it's like a whodunit.
Right.
You know what I mean? The whole whodunit, and then like what's cool about Scream is you used to see that costume anywhere.
Yeah,
they
of
had that
course.
costume before the movie came out.
Oh man, you could get like 5 of them for
Well,
like $10 at Costco.
Yeah, you can buy them at like Walmart. Still sells for like $5. You get like 10 of them for like
Sam's
fucking-
Club.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? Yeah. So it's like that was so cool because we used to see that costume in any costume store, any store in general, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Target, whatever. You see that mask, and it's like, wait a minute, you're watching this movie. It's like, wait a minute, I know that costume. So these guys are using that costume that I see in stores, and it's like, oh my god, that's awesome. Like they're using just a basic costume to do their killing with, and it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
to do their dirty work. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about Scream too is that, you know, Billy and Stu, you know, split off between being the killer of Ghostface, but it's like it's their love of horror that made them do all this stuff too. It's crazy how that's you know, that's how the movie was pretty much. You know, they can quote all these different movies and stuff.
And they wanted to make their own horror movie.
And they wanted to make their own horror movie, exactly. So that's just the cool thing about Scream.
Scream used to scare me as a kid until I saw like every jabroni at school wearing one. Like, oh, okay, that idiot who can't even like, you know, eat a ham sandwich right. It's like not scary.
Oh man!
That
Well,
guy-
yeah, then you see people like taking shits.
Did you get the pickle for 10 cents at Dollar Cart line at road school?
Well, yeah. Then Mr. Mertz bought like a
2 nachos in his low-fat milk.
Aw, dude, you need like 16 skin milks, dude, to
Oh,
compensate.
Yeah.
the relish was 18 years old.
Yeah, and then Dr. McNally would yell at everybody. I mean, you know, it's good shit. You know?
Dude, the hot dogs at road school where we went to grade school, man, it was all gray and stuff like that. Dude, it looked like my toe had more like pigment to it. All right, but yeah, like what Donald said is we're gonna we'll introduce like a lot of different things like
You going?
horror on this day on horror and you know, like new toys that are coming out or new trailers that just dropped and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll talk about up and coming.
Up and coming ones too, because
Everything, yeah.
I want to see like what cool is. I want to see like everybody's like opinion on what's
Yeah,
coming
of
up,
course.
like what everybody thinks is going to happen, what this movie's going to be about. So that'd be great too.
Scream 5. It's like
Well, Selena Gomez and I think she's going to sing like you know.
it's gonna be weird, man.
The Scream 5 is going to be good, man.
I
I'm
am
excited
the
for
climb.
that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that was Miley
The
Cyrus.
Scream franchise has grown on me over the years. Like at first, I was just like, "Oh, this is just like some stupid teenagers, whatever." I mean, most slashers. Are
You gotta,
you know what I'm saying?
you gotta appreciate.
It's grown on me over the
you
years.
gotta look at that movie from a different angle because they really want you. They really bring you along for the ride
Yeah.
because they give you all these details to pick. Like the killers are so obvious when you go back and watch Scream. It's like Stu at every turn is trying to give a misdirection.
Well, they hit Billy in plain sight for sure.
Yeah. And then you got the third one with Roman Bridger, that guy.
Oh, man.
Roman Bridger
The button-down
buys-
shirt.
Dude, he buys like the black cherry suckers at fucking convenience, you know?
Dude, it's funny.
That guy buys the pickle in the bag.
I almost want to skip Scream 1 and 2, just go to right to Scream 3, just cover. 'Cause it's gonna be
I don't know how you guys
Well,
feel
it-
about this, but you guys think that the original Scream, it could have just been a one and done movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
And forgetting about 2, 3, and 4.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
100%.
The franchise followed the, I don't want to say dialogue, lack of a better term, but of the, like, you know, 80s and 70s kind of slashers. Like, it followed that dialogue, you know, and plot.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's
I'm not-
why there's
yeah.
2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the rest of the movies are bad, but it's just, you know,
No,
they
I
continued the
agree.
story 2, 3, and 4, you know, with Billy's mom, and then Mickey, and then to Roman Bridger, and then part 4. I still haven't even seen the 4th movie. So is it with her cousin or something?
yeah,
Or-
dude.
I haven't even
Emma
seen it yet.
Roberts.
The fourth movie's okay, but it's like, okay, it gets a little. It wears a little thin. I mean, okay, the fourth movie's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It's got good stuff to it, but I mean, it does wear a little thin, whatever. And I think part 5, they're gonna kind of like reintroduce stuff, which might be pretty good. I hope they kind of like go back to like old roots a little, So we'll see what happens. I mean, but.
Yeah.
Scream 1 could have been one and done. Because
Definitely,
it's like
I
these
would
two horror
say so
fans that want to make their
myself.
own movie, and
Yep.
they dress like Scream. They dress like a costume that you could get anywhere, and it's pretty cool. And the more it keeps going, it's like, okay, that's great and all, but it's like, wears thin a little. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any Scream is necessarily bad, but like it's like just about anything. The more it gets drawn out,
Watered
Yeah.
down.
yeah, it gets why and
Watered
like
right.
and what like there's really no way of stopping that. I mean, the Jason movies, the first 4 by most people, including myself and probably all of us, all 4 of them are perfection. The first 4. And I've heard so many different people say, "Oh, number 2's my favorite, number 3, number
Yeah.
1, number 4." And me, I land somewhere in between 1 and 3.
I'm 3 and 4. I'm 3 and 4 to be honest. Yeah, for sure.
Crispin Glover.
Yeah, well, Crispin Glover.
When you think
he's
of
trying,
Friday
he's
the
dancing at the
13th.
fucking dance over there, in Back to the Future, like, what can you do? What can you do?
When you think of Friday the 13th, you think of 3 and 4. I mean, that's Jason, and he's going around killing.
Well, it's him becoming like the icon of Jason.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 he becomes. That's when he gets the mask and the machete.
That's when he gets the hockey
Exactly.
mask. I mean, 2 started Jason, but it's not the same because we all know him as the hockey mask Jason.
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
3
That's
just
the
Wellington
start of that,
Gillette.
yeah.
exactly.
But 2's a good movie.
Yeah.
2's
I
a
like
good movie,
it,
though.
dude.
It's
Very
so
suspenseful.
underrated.
Very suspenseful. Very underrated. Very suspenseful.
Amy
I mean-
Steele was hot too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on now. You know what I mean? Oh, for sure.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I think for the most part, all the episodes we're going to be doing are going to be watch-alongs, and we'll give a big advance on our social media pages, and we'll tell you where you can find it. We'll try to maybe watch some stuff that's on free platforms such as Tubi and YouTube.
Yeah,
and
just
stuff
so anybody
like
can really
that.
tune in.
Yeah, we'll give you a heads up on what's what, and
Just follow our Facebook.
yeah.
We'll do special episodes too, but I think for now we're going to mostly be doing a watch along because we think that will be the most fun and
It gives
just
the
a lot easier.
Yeah, it gives like the audience, the listeners, to watch the movies with us if they choose to, and just to have fun with us. They could crack beers with us too as well. So it'll be fun. It'll be great. I mean,
Here,
Good
before Jay tells you what we're gonna be covering soon, I got some on this day in horror history. So yesterday, March 6th, 1981, Maniac was released.
Oh, I love that movie.
Wild movie.
That is a wild movie. Oh man,
Want to talk about it a little bit? See,
That movie's really messed up. I mean, I would recommend watching that movie, but not in a dark room because that movie alone, at least, that movie is terrifying. It's like a slasher, but to me, it's more like Psycho. Because it's like...
Oh, the Vince Vaughn psycho. Oh, man. Vince Vaughn looks like he never sleeps.
Vince Vaughn is essentially Paul Rudd from Halloween 6 in that movie.
Okay, so on
Yeah.
March 5th, 1943, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. You guys ever see that one?
Yeah.
Never seen it.
No, I've never
Yes.
seen that one.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, that's the first horror crossover, I believe. Or no, there's...
Maniac is on Amazon Prime right now. If anyone's interested in
original?
watching it. Yeah.
I have that on VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was released 2 years after Wolfman.
Oh, okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah, you got one. Here's the one for you, James. March 4th, 1922. Can you take a guess which one that was released?
Nosferatu.
Phantom of the Opera.
Nosferatu.
Andrew's right. Nosferatu
Wow.
makes its premiere in Germany.
Oh,
Wow.
Phantom
Yeah.
was 25. Oh, yeah.
listening to Rammstein?
There's like Stein.
So yeah, that wraps up the week of horror movie. Actually, I'm sorry. I seen this one in theater, so I wanna talk about it. March
What, Ghost
2nd
Ship?
to No, but just as good.
Oh, the 13 Ghosts of
Hey.
Tony Shalhoub.
I love Ghost Ship. Was Mudvayne's in it? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, hey, Stan.
March 2nd, 2007, Zodiac. You guys,
Oh,
you guys-
Jake
yeah.
Gyllenhaal.
Oh, I gotta refresh myself on that one.
I love that.
I haven't
movie.
even
I
seen
that
it.
in
Yeah, we'll have to
theaters.
watch.
That's a
We'll,
good
we'll
one.
do a
Yeah.
watch along.
That's definitely my favorite true crime story ever. The Zodiac, dude.
Because it never got
It's so fucked up.
Still,
yeah.
still open.
Yeah.
Open case, yeah.
Well, here, I'm going to go off the horror topic. Did anybody see the second Coming to America yet or no?
No.
No,
All
not yet.
right, I
not
heard
yet.
it wasn't that good, so
Yeah,
I wanted
but
to see.
It was just there.
everybody shits on stuff these days. It's like anybody could shit on any curb right now. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like any movie that comes out, oh, that's garbage.
Dude, but that tree down the street is making fun of me, and I'm tired.
Yeah, but it's like these days, like people are shitting on a lot of stuff. I mean, it might be a shitty movie. I don't know, right? But it's like today, it's like everybody thinks it's cool, like shit on something. Like like I want to go shit on that little piece of paper sitting there that's got like somebody's phone number on it. You know what I mean? It's like what the fuck? Like I don't know. We'll see. I'll take a look at it.
All right. Any follow-ups? Any follow-ups before we close this baby out? No, we will.
Yeah, we'll give we'll let you know what we're gonna watch, what's coming up. Social media, you can follow us on Facebook /Renegades of Horror, on Instagram, the Renegades of Horror podcast, and that's all, folks.
Twitter too. We're also on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll be on Twitter. You could at us.
Or you can follow, like, I'm James, CIOCHLN.
James is on there. Joe's on there. I'm on there.
Yeah.
You can follow us. So yeah, we'll be when the world, back to what we were talking about a little bit back, when the world becomes normal again, we're gonna be covering conventions.
Yep.
And doing interviews. So keep an eye lookout for that. James, you want to tell us what's up and coming?
All right, since this was our intro for our first watch-along episode, we are going to be covering the Mac Daddy of them all, baby.
The granddaddy.
Speaking for myself, probably the biggest influence on why we're all sitting here and probably why most people are listening. We're going to be covering Halloween 1978.
Oh man.
John
That is
Carpenter
gonna be great.
masterpiece.
I cannot wait for that. It is gonna be spectacular.
Dude, Charles Cyphers is in
Yeah.
it, man. Donald Pleasant.
Nick Castle.
Nick Callum, Tony Moran.
Oh my God, is he liquor
Yeah,
store?
turn him. Hey, dude.
I still. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
cut you
go,
off.
go.
No, I was just gonna say that there's this Facebook thing that you can get Tony Moran to officiate your wedding, and our good pal Matt's gonna get married. At the end of summer.
Uh-oh.
I still think. If
It's
he
a
doesn't
cruel
actually
summer.
get the Tony Moran, I still think we should prank his fiance with saying that Tony Moran's gonna be officiating and all the
awesome.
That would
grooms
be
men are
great.
gonna have the different masks.
The
That would be
unmasked
great.
Michael Myers.
I just want to see how this plays
That'd be
out.
great. Then you gotta have Mr. Sprague be Dr. Loomis and fucking shoot him. That'll be great. That'll be great.
Shot him six times. All right. Well, I mean,
What about the weight?
Yeah.
Wait.
Go on, move. So yeah, it's
yeah, man, the John Carpenter masterpiece, and I can't wait to cover it.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of
and it's
fun.
gonna be a watch along. So it's like all of you like listeners out there, all of you fans of the podcast, could watch along with us and just have fun with us. So it'll be great.
And we're also going to be covering Leprechaun since, St. Patrick's Day is next week.
Yep.
Man, we were talking about it yesterday. What was just some of your favorite parts of that movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when they throw the shoes out to the leprechaun in the lawn, he's got to run around with his little rag and polish the shoes,
Yeah.
and
And he pinches the guy's dick.
and then he pinches the guy's dick when he opens up the kitchen cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. It's great stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely one of funnier movies.
What can you do?
And that's Jennifer Aniston's first movie too, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yep, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, it was.
And then Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventures in it.
Where are they hosing him off?
Yeah. Wait.
Ow!
Yeah, no. Then he really, in that movie he steals Pee Wee Herman's bike and then he like boos on him and I think stuff like that. I don't know.
All right, and
What the fuck? Joe just exploded.
Oh my god!
All right, I mean, and
God damn.
we're gonna run down a list of some of the movies that we're gonna be covering in the near future. Return of the Living Dead,
Good one.
Yeah, definitely.
The Crazies,
Oh yeah.
The
original, and then after that, sometime soon we'll be doing the remake, kind of as a side piece, kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
definitely.
Love the remake though.
It's great.
It's a great
They
remake.
do a good job with the remake. Wow.
I never say that. That was a really good remake.
And also, since we're coming up on the 40th anniversary, we will in October be covering Halloween too,
Of
Yes,
course,
yes.
definitely.
because that's a big.
Absolutely.
We were gonna do it on the earlier side, but since it's a big anniversary, we might as well just wait. And it's in October,
It's
so
one of the
we
best
might,
sequels
we're
of
gonna
all
cover.
time,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Yep.
why not? And then The Burning, like, as we mentioned, as Andrew mentioned earlier, Freddy versus Jason,
of course, yep.
and Child's Play, and
Definitely,
we're
yeah.
also gonna put in some bootleg movies like Creep Van or
Attack of the Killer Donuts.
Attack of the Killer
It's going to be
Donuts.
one of our segments is that we do a, like, kind of a bootleg. Jessica is a big fan of these, I wouldn't even say B-rated. They're like B-rated.
D-.
Oh, dude, that's like
Yeah.
Q level.
Not even Sharknado.
Q-Bert.
Not even Sharknado level. Just like
Like a China buffet level.
Oh, the one in Norwich, with the rubber chicken.
Oh, Wiki Dog.
Nah. That's when you go like to the dollar store and you see like all this like crazy shit and you're like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah, so we will keep everyone updated on our social medias of what's coming up, And this was our first episode. We're gonna try our best to make this so much better and have so much more fun.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week on the Renegades of Horror podcast.
Wait.